got a tweet from Sulphur Sooner, and he says, do you see the revamped offense actually being complementary at Oklahoma? And I think the concern there, if I'm reading between the lines, what the question is this offense is going to run a lot of plays. It's going to be very high tempo. It's going to be pedal to the metal, rock and roll, a lot of plays. That's a good thing as long as you're converting first downs. Because if you go 3 and out in a matter of 10 seconds, incomplete pass, stopped on third down, well, guess what? The defense, who was just out there a few minutes ago, barely got the chance to sit down and look at the previous drive and get some water before they're back out on the field. So it doesn't complement the defense if your offense can't get anything done. And it's a little bit more of a delicate balance because of how many plays you run and how quickly you go. It leaves you a little bit exposed to ultimately get your defense worn out. And that's kind of what complementary means ultimately, is essentially, does the offense cater to making the defense better in this scenario? And to answer your question, Sulphur Sooner, yes, I believe it does, and here's why. Oklahoma is going to make it a priority to run the ball early and often. So even if they're getting stopped on third down and they go 3 and out, I would venture to say more often than not, 1.5 to 2 of those plays will be run. So they're going to take time off the clock in that way. Even if they're getting to the line real quick, clock's still ticking. In addition to that, Dillon Gabriel is a really efficient passer for his career. He's like 62% completion percentage. Reunited with Jeff Lebby. I know we've talked about that ad nauseum, but he's very efficient with his passes. So one that tells you the ball's going to the right place. He's accurate, but the ball is getting completed a lot, which again means chains keep moving. At the very least, the clock keeps running. So you're not having these scenarios quite as frequently where you're throwing it out to your guy and it's incomplete and no time's off the clock, and the defense is now, again, dog tired, got to go back out there. So that's something that I would look at. In addition, going back to what they're going to do running the ball, they feel real good about this running back room. Eric Gray, I would expect to be RB1. I think they'll probably have some guys they mix in as well. I think it'll be a little bit more by committee. They are raving about DeMarco Murray down there. They love what he's done with this running back room. They love how he's coached them up. They feel good about what they have there depth-wise. So ultimately, what it comes down to is, if you score as an offense, you put pressure on the opposition. You're saying, no, duh. Well, in terms of complementary football, how do you think the opposing offense is calling it if they're down 17-0 in the second quarter? Maybe you start to press. Maybe you start to feel a little more sense of urgency. You get out of your own game plan, and you're now operating at a level that you don't really want to operate at. You can't just call the normal offense that you would call, because you got to get points. Because guess what? Oklahoma's going a mile a minute, and they're scoring a lot of points, and they're putting the pressure on you to match them. And so when you get out of your comfort zone as an offense, it allows the defense to be a little bit more creative and to play more free and to ultimately know what's going to come their way. They know that, hey, they got to score points. They may be throwing the ball more this down. They got to score points. Make sure nothing behind us. Because if they just want to stay in their own, consistent, offense that they would usually run, if it's 0-0, well, then you're running the risk of Oklahoma running you out of the building. You can't trade a 3 every other drive for 14 points. Doesn't work that way. That's how you get blown out of games. So I very, very strongly believe this offense will be complementary to the defense. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work fast. That's why I feel so good about Oklahoma. Jeff Lebby and Dillon Gabriel, I have said it once, said it 1,000 times on the show. It's going to be a quick marriage, and I think it does wonders for Oklahoma, and I think you see that trickle over to the offense. From the offense to the defense. It's going to be a good thing to Norman. So Sulphur Sooner, not to worry. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.